Hi, I would like to take a couple minutes to give you some help as you put pages 26 to 28 together in your notebook. So remember, your first step is to copy and paste the pages 26 to 28 into your actual notebook. Now, if you're in class, I've kind of given you my little shortcut here. You can hold down Shift on your keyboard, and then you can click and it will highlight more than one, and then you have to let go of Shift, or at least I do, to scroll down, and then you can hold Shift down again, and then you can click all three, copy and paste them straight into your notebook at one time instead of doing it 3 different times. So hopefully that helps save you a couple seconds of your life. So on page 26, our goal is, there we go. I forgot to write it in here. I can identify the different parts of a linear equation. So the first thing that you will do on page 26 is you will put together, you'll click and drag the vocab words to where they fall. And so I've done a couple for you. The equation for slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now thinking back to what we did last week, hopefully you know which one is m and which one is b. One of them will be slope and one will be y-intercept. When you're looking at a table, you can find the slope by doing the change in y, which means subtraction, over the change in x. But then it says look for the y-intercept of the value of y, where x value is equal to what? So what is the x value when you're trying to find the y-intercept? And then for the graph, find the slope by calculating which one of these do you calculate on a graph to find the slope. So you'll just click on it, drag it to where it needs to be. You may have to adjust the size just a little bit. I'm sure you'll figure that part out. Now, I've done this example down here completely for you, and then you will have to do a couple on your own on the next page. So Luke's family goes to the movies and purchases a large popcorn. They are, you know what? I am wrong here. Ignore me, la la la. You don't see this. Okay, so they purchase a large popcorn and then they're debating on whether or not to purchase any drinks. The table below shows how much they'll spend based on the number of drinks that they decide to purchase. So if they buy 0 drinks, it costs $5.75. One drink is $8, two is $10.25, blah, 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 blah. So you are going to fill in these little blocks. The slope, if you're going to find the slope based on a table, remember what you're going to do is how much do your y's change? So from $5.75 to $8, it went up $2.25. Your x from 0 to 1 changed 1. So your fraction would be 225 over 1. Remember, slope is change in y over change in x. So 225 over 1, that means each of these drinks would be costing $2.25. The y-intercept is where x equals 0. And so when x equals 0, the y-intercept, or the y, would be $5.75. So that's your answer for the y-intercept. Now, your equation, and I put a little thing down here that would kind of separate them for you. Y equals mx plus b. By the time you are done in my class this year, I hope you can quote this in your sleep. We will be doing y equals mx plus b, graphing lines, writing equations in this form all year long. So don't avoid it, figure out how to do it, and please ask me for help if you need it. So the m is your slope, and the b is your y-intercept. It's the number that's by itself. It's the beginning point. And so what you'll do to write this as an equation, the number in front of x, that's your slope. So we've been talking about that. So it becomes 225x plus, and then the number that's by itself, the y-intercept, that's your b. And so it becomes so you type in 575 for b. So your equation is y equals 225x plus 575. So what does the slope represent? Well, if you're thinking about this, the slope, remember, it's the change in y, which that's in dollars, over the change in x, which that's in drinks. So then your slope is the amount of money per one drink. And so 225 per drink. So each drink would cost $2.25. What does your y-intercept represent? Well, the y-intercept, remember that's where x is 0. If they're buying 0 drinks and this whole thing is talking about the amount of money per drink and a thing of popcorn, this has to be the cost of the large popcorn. So the large popcorn costs $5.75. Moving on to page 27. I've given you some hints on this first one. So it says Jackson pays for his family to play golf. He first rents a golf cart for everyone, and then he pays a certain amount per round of golf that his family plays, as shown in the graph. So you look at the graph and it's given these 2 points. It's given you 0. So it looks like if this is 10 and this is 50, then each of these is $10 because the cost, it's labeled in cost. So right here, this point would be 0 rounds, $20. This point would be 2 rounds, $70. Okay, so remember to find your slope, it's the change in y. So think about how much do y's change over the change of x. How much did the x's change? And then you write that as a fraction, and that becomes your m, or your slope. The y-intercept, where does it cross the y-axis? So where does it cross this axis right here? That's your answer for the y-intercept. So then when you put it in the equation, y equals slope times x plus b, which is your y-intercept. So then to find out what does the slope represent, well, look at how it's labeled. Remember, slope is rise over run. So think about how it's labeled. It's total cost over number of rounds. So it'd be cost, or dollars per round. And so then think about what that is going to represent. And then for the y-intercept, again, think about what it means if it's right here, how many numbers of rounds has it been and how much is that costing? And what does that mean in real life? So hopefully those steps will help you fill out this one. And then the next one you will do completely by yourself. I will definitely help. Friends can help. It's not a test or anything, but I'm not going to put hints in this video for you. And then page 28, we have new toolkit words that we need to define that will help us on our prediction packet. So I want you to define and give an example of clustering, outlier, extrapolation, interpolation, linear equation, x-intercept, and y-intercept. So please let me know if you have any questions. I did put the link to mathisfun.com right there for you. And I hope this will help you on pages 26 to 28 in your notebook. Thanks for listening.